Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Virgo. If Virgo is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so, our card tonight is the Devil card. Okay, right there. And I know you might be thinking, wow, that is not a good card. Why did we pick that one tonight? Well, they are chosen at random, of course, but I will tell you that in my usual interpretation anyways, sometimes it varies. The Devil card is a most welcome energy. It is that kind of wily strain of energy, power. It is almost kind of its own element, and it comes into our life and it reshapes things. This is kind of the place where we find courage to do the thing that we never thought we would do. You know, something that we yearn, we desire for. You know, I think of the Devil card, I think a lot of rebellion, of standing up to the things in your life that you have felt like you've needed to make yourself small to cower away from. And that is just not the case when we have this energy. So definitely most welcome. All right, let's take a look at these tea leaves. And if you have not subscribed, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. Okay. So the first thing that I want to recognize here quickly is that we have a Z and a 9. Z9. If that means anything to you. All right. I'm kind of in a silly mood. It is the night before Easter. We do partake in Easter here in our own way. And so we've had a fun little afternoon. Keeping it pretty low key. Okay. Let's see. We have a face right here. You can see the eyes, the nose, the mouth. It looks like we have a face here. This one almost reminds me of something from like Mario, Super Mario or whatever it's called. Kind of like the ghost, right? And so I feel like with this face up here, there's somebody who is quite refined. That's the energy I get. Quite refined. Very like kind of good posture. Shoulders back, head held high. Really kind of almost maybe there's a gracefulness, but there's also kind of almost a stern energy there. And I almost feel like this could be you, but I feel like it could be somebody like an aunt, an auntie, or a family, maybe a sister. It could be an older sister or a sister of chosen sister. I was going to say sister of some kind, right? So with this other energy, though, it feels kind of almost like with this, it looks like what is that called? Like the haunted mansion in Mario. And I'm trying to remember from like many years ago, so I might be wrong. But I do kind of almost feel, I don't know, it's almost kind of this sense of, and this seems, I don't know how it comes together like this, but it is kind of the sense of having a series of bad relationships. Somebody who, on all other stages of their life, they're pretty successful, really kind of meticulous and devoted to what they do, right? Careful with things. Really precise about things. But then there's this one aspect which I feel like is almost their love life, their dating, the person or people they have married. And it's just kind of been like that haunted mansion, right? It just has been awful. And I think that there's a disconnect there, right? And it feels like kind of every time there is a new relationship, it's almost kind of like nobody's super excited because you're wondering, well, how is this going to go, right? But you want to be supportive and kind and loving because this is your family and you love them. But I do feel like there's an energy here that is just kind of like, what's the underlying thing? What is going on that in all other aspects you can be so well off or working so hard, so intelligent, so creative, so well put together, and then you're choosing people who are just not good partners, maybe not good people in general. So I also see we have two people kind of holding hands, locked together here. And I kind of almost wonder, well, and then we have somebody here. Somebody here, you can see the legs, the body reaching out, and there's a person here holding a flower, kind of holding it up. And then we have we have a person on a horse speeding this way. And I feel like there's really this sense of almost like maybe your relationships have been pretty decent, right? Or maybe you have your person, or maybe you're somebody who is really kind of happy by yourself, and you try to be supportive, but at times I almost kind of think that it's like painful for this person to see your situation versus theirs. And I think that it has created kind of there's a separation between the two of you, because, you want that for them. You're not trying to lord over them in any way. You have to be very careful with how you speak to them. But I think it can also almost feel like they easily show off about maybe their work, or how much money they're making, or how nice their things are, or whatever it is. But if it's anything about the relationship stuff, then it's like you have to be very careful, where you will kind of just put up with the fact that they have to be like number one with all these other things. And now, as I say this could be totally reversed, right? Where your sibling or your family member friend or whoever it is, they have a great relationship, and you have had a series of kind of like, what the heck's what the heck is going on here? And, you know, so it could be either way, but I do feel like it makes things kind of difficult. But I also feel like maybe this has kind of been it's an ongoing competition since youth. I almost kind of imagine like the dynamic of like on the Brady Bunch, right? There's like the Marcia and the Jan and kind of always, you know, vying for some position in the family and I think, you know, as you've gotten older, you've been closer, you've been through things together, you've had some ordeals and some great successes and everything in between. So I do believe that you are close. I don't feel like you're totally cut off from one another, but there is a barrier there. Okay. And I think that you recognize that. And I feel like, you know, even if you have been the one trying to kind of bring the peace offering, you know, the olive branch, all these, you know, these kinds of things, you're never, even if it's not received well, or, you know, it is received well and then it's kind of squandered a little bit, or, you know, it kind of spirals out again, I don't feel like you will give up. You are very loyal to this person, and I think you put up with a lot. You do. So, you know, and they might say the same thing, right? So I do feel like this is, this is a important person in your life. They always will be, definitely. Now that horse right there, with the person riding it, I love this image because it looks like they have a bird's head, right there. You can see. So I do feel like this is a sense of, it's in the emotional, right, on the incline of the cup there. So I do feel like there's a quickening of emotions. I have been, and as I look at this, we also look like we have, it looks like the goat eating a fish, right? And we have other fish as well, throughout the bowl. And so I do feel like this is a time where monetary issues are kind of being resolved. There is money coming in. And I feel like you being emotionally connected to whatever work you're doing, however you're making your money, this has turned it into something that has been much more successful for you. Where I think, you know, often it's kind of like, well, we separate it's just business. This is work. I go to work. I do my work. I end my day and I go home and I try not to think about it. I try not to get my emotions involved. Well, it's really, you know, maybe some people can exist that way, but for a Virgo, for better or worse, we are emotionally invested in basically every aspect of our life. And there's not a lot of separation there, right? So I believe you've been working hard, and we have the Chariot right here. You've been working really hard. You're making more and more money, and that seems to be coming to you pretty recently, in the last couple of years, but especially in this last year. And I think it will continue to do well if you stay kind of, you know, motivated and invested in the work that you are doing. But I do feel like there's this symbol of eating the fish there. So making sure that you are being wise with what you're doing with the money that you are making, and making sure that you have a financial plan, making sure that you're putting some money away if you can, you know, and maybe investing some money, or however you know, kind of envision, you know, doing the most you can with what you are making. And so I think, you know, making sure, being very mindful that it's not a thing where you're just kind of, you know, impulse buying or going and blowing a bunch of money. Which, listen, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. That's your business. No judgment from me. But you know, I see it in the tea leaves and the signs, and it's like, okay, yeah. You know, sometimes we need to check in with ourselves and think, yeah, you know, this maybe is the time to rethink my plan, my financial plan, my goals for the next few years, you know, where and what I see myself doing. So definitely a good time for a check-in. I believe. All right, so I keep staring at these. We have an F and an F right here. And it's interesting because this is kind of how I write my Fs, actually, with the kind of, what is it called, like a French curve, a serif, maybe? I can't remember, but kind of curled like that. And so anyways, so an F and an F, if those mean anything to you. So we have Z9, an F and an F. I know I saw a 3. There's a 3 right up there. Okay, we have a 3. Where are you? Right in there. We have that chariot right here. Now this F also looks like a lizard. So when we see the lizard, ooh, that means we have some passion, we have some fire, we have the Wands energy. And I do feel like there's this sense of a turn towards maybe sensuality, towards lusting after, maybe kind of a time where you are looking to I see here we have kind of the energy of people dancing, and we have kind of a little flag on top of a mound, and yet another face right in here. You can see I'm trying to point with my finger, but this is easier. At the eyes and the nose and the mouth. And so I do feel like there's a sense of wanting to kind of get a little free, right? Go out, have some fun, do the celebrating and finding reasons to, you know, kind of lose your inhibitions a little bit. You know, be among those kind of exciting and enthralling energies. And I feel like, you know, kind of going into a space that is so immersive that it kind of transports you. So you can think of something as like I kind of think about when I was a kid. I don't know, maybe, well, it was in the late 90s. So I was like between 13 and 19. And I was going to raves a lot. I'm from Northern California, and we used to have, they're not like how they are now. I mean, they were in like the weirdest places, and it was all underground stuff, you know. It wasn't like festivals and things like that are today. It was, they were all like unsanctioned and illegal. But when you would go to them, they were themed usually, and the name of the rave would be, you know, in line with the theme. And so, like, for instance, I went to one, there was like an Alice in Wonderland theme, and it was really cool. But going into an environment, and I'm not saying you're going to raves, although, hey, if if they're accessible, and you are so inclined, maybe do go check out a rave. Or as we even called them raves back then, we called them parties, with 2 E's, parties. So anyways, yes, I feel like going into a place that feels like you're in a different world, something that is very sensory, rich, very kind of sensory indulgent, and just kind of, you know, traveling time and space into, you know, shared fantasy. And also, you know, another way to do this is if you're near any large, like, art museums, or if you can find like immersive theater is really cool. You know, but definitely something that is very novel and very interesting, and excuse me, and almost, you know, feels like enchantment, right? It feels like an enchantment, and it's kind of a loosening, a fraying of, but at the same time this like very profound, enchanting feeling. And I think it's beautiful. It's kind of bacchanalian, right? Ecstatic, and quite lovely. I can imagine in my head kind of all of these very sweet smelling oleander bushes, and they are beautiful. Where I grew up, there are a lot of them, and in the summer, ooh, when the sun would warm them up and they would release all of their scent, and I can imagine just kind of mazes made of oleander, and wandering through them, and dancing and rejoicing, and kind of spinning out of time a little bit. Yes. All right, let's see. So we do have a repeating question mark. We have one over. Now, where are you? There's a question mark in here. There it is. We have a repeating question mark. We have one right here. We have one right here. So there is a question. There is a kind of sense of what are we doing? And so, you know, I feel that there's somebody beloved. And I think that this is an old person from old times. But there's still such a sense of connection, being tied together, and I think thinking of them often and dreaming about them, and you know, wondering. And I know I feel I've been doing a lot of things today, but we've had some family news that, you know, my husband and my daughter and we're good, but somebody really close to us has had some bad, or at least, you know, trying medical medical diagnosis. So I feel very heartbroken, and I know I probably sound a little bit I don't know. I feel detached, I think, I feel emotional, but, kind of almost like looking at it from another room. You know what I mean? And just weary. But the nice thing about doing readings is that it takes me somewhere else, even if I maybe still sound pretty weary. But yeah, so I feel that just a sense of, and there is like running towards the past. This over and over and over. It feels like it's a spiral. Wanting, but in your rational mind, knowing this wasn't meant to be, right? But there's something about this time of year. It reminds you of them. They come right to the front of your memories constantly. And I don't know what the circumstances are, why you can't maybe, interact with them anymore. Maybe they are transitioned, or, maybe it was just such a terrible match, and the events around it really feel quite traumatic in some ways. And so, yeah, I think, in these situations, my belief is we use the technique of sublimation, right? We put these difficult feelings, sensations, emotions into some kind of creative work, something that is useful to our process. It doesn't matter what it is, but to create something. And to create it in honor of this situation, this connection, this person, and, also the departure, right? And so, yes, I think that it's always a good idea when we are feeling these kind of urges to go backwards, do something with it first, write about it, make some art, create something, go bake a bunch of sourdough, I don't know, something. And give it some time. Sit in the desire, sit in the discomfort and the grief and all of these things kind of swirling together, and let it settle before you do anything about it. Yeah, that's important, I think. Okay. So, let's see. We have the lightness of being affirmation cards, and we're going to go ahead and just flip through them and stop where it feels right. Okay. And it says, divine offering, serenity, kiss flowers in joyous gratitude, embrace a continuous celebration of your life. Yes. Yes, please. All right, Virgo, I want to tell you I love you because I do. And I want to thank you so much for spending this time with me. It's always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel so much. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe, and if you would like to leave a comment, please do. I read them all, and I really, truly look forward to them every single day. You all are the best, and yes, happy Ramadan, happy Easter. There, are other wonderful spring and fall celebrations going on. Lots of things, it seems. We also have this eclipse coming up here pretty soon. That energy seems quite potent. I know we've had some big solar emissions as well, which really does seem to affect us all, if we know it or not. So, take care of yourself, and please try to enjoy and, take care of one another, drive safely. Anytime we have these holidays going on, I always, say lots of extra prayers that everybody's journeys are safe and, hopefully pretty uneventful. So, anyways, I love you again, and thank you, and we'll talk in just a couple days from now. Good night.